Greg Caserta back in studio for one final American Association scoreboard, brought to you, of course, by Autotrader.com. Autotrader.com, the ultimate automotive marketplace. El Paso leading Sioux Falls 6-2, top of the fifth. Rockland leading Lincoln 4-2, bottom of the fifth. And Grand Prairie, unfortunately, once again shutting out Amarillo at home 5-0. That one's in the bottom of the second. Later tonight, regular season wraps up. Fargo-Moorhead in Winnipeg at 7. Kansas City at Sioux City shortly thereafter. And finally, Laredo takes on Gary South Shore at U.S. Steel Yard. Major League Baseball scoreboard. Twins aren't on till later tonight. They're in Chicago at 7:10. Mets being blanked by the Cardinals 4-0, top of the fifth at Busch. And finally, Yankees and Rays tied at 3, top of the eighth at the Trop. Back to Declan Goff at Midway Stadium. So now, just to break down that 7-minute interview you heard with Sean and George Samis, talk about brutally honest, painfully honest, and a very audibly upset and angry and disappointed George Samis. And the manager just let it fly. Final time you'll hear from him this season, and those are words to remember as you prepare for a long offseason in preparation for the 2013 season. Some of those things he said, and his first comments that he echoed to Sean were, "We flat out blew it." Over 20 games this season, by his count, that the Saints gave away. We've talked about it plenty of times before. We've pointed out specific games, but George Samis, by his estimation, over 20 games the Saints gave away. He mentioned the losing record in the month of August. He mentioned the Saints fall flat after they had tied Winnipeg for the wild card. And opportunities were there, even down to the final 3 days of the season. The Saints still had an opportunity to make a late push and secure that fourth and final playoff spot. But as he told me months ago, as Lamar Rogers told me months ago, timely hitting with runners on base, scoring position, 2 outs, that was a serious issue for this ball club all year long. And it cost them in the long run because George wisely pointed out during the final month of the regular season, the starting pitching was very good. Kept them in a lot of ball games. You know about your Robert Coes and your Kyle Ruiz, but even Anthony Claggett pitched very well. Luke Anderson, when healthy, and before the elbow pain and the general arm fatigue started setting in, he had a nice season. And you got contributions. But as he said, you look at the names in this lineup, and probably a little bit more expected out of many of the names you see here. Jose Hernandez injured down the stretch. Willie Cabrera injured during points of this season. And the thing that really stuck with me is that during these last few weeks, George Samis tried making a lot of big-time trades, tried acquiring a lot of big names. Nobody bit. Nobody came. And that's tough because he felt that adding one more big bat, someone with AAA experience, as he mentioned, could potentially balance out the order because it never seemed like this team had the right mix, 1 through 9 in the order. He talked about the loyalty aspect, and I'm happy Sean followed up with a question regarding that because you wonder who specifically he was talking about. And I won't get into names, I won't get into specifics, but the fact that George himself admitted that this was on him for bringing these players in, for keeping certain guys in the lineup out of loyalty and out of respect to past performance, that hits home. And then when he closed it out by saying, we'll head into this offseason, reevaluate what we want to do moving forward, and probably he estimated less than half of this roster will return for the 2013 season. I mean, that is a lot to take. You heard a lot in those 7 minutes, a lot of eye-opening things that George said